Here, in the forbidding thorn forests of Brazil's Piauí state, archaeologists say their discoveries are contributing to a pivotal reevaluation of how humans first came to the Americas.
What if one of the biggest stories in human history was built on an incomplete timeline? Deep inside Oregon caves, across ancient lakebeds, and beneath layers of sediment untouched for thousands of years, archaeologists have uncovered evidence that is forcing experts to rethink when the first people arrived in North America. Some of these discoveries shouldn't exist according to traditional theories, yet they do. And together, they are revealing a mystery that could completely change the story of human origins in the Americas. The Oregon discovery that shattered a century of belief. For much of modern archaeology, the story of the first Americans seemed settled. Researchers widely accepted that a culture known as the Clovis people represented the earliest human presence in North America. Their distinctive stone spear points, discovered near Clovis, New Mexico, became the foundation of a timeline that appeared difficult to challenge. According to this long-standing theory, small groups of people migrated from Asia into Alaska near the end of the last ice age. As enormous glaciers slowly retreated, they supposedly traveled south through an opening between the ice sheets and spread across the continent. The idea became so influential that it found its way into textbooks, museums, documentaries, and classrooms for generations. But history has a way of changing when new evidence emerges. In the arid region of south-central Oregon, the Paisley Caves became an unexpected focal point in the search for America's earliest inhabitants. During excavations, researchers uncovered an unusual type of evidence, not tools or human remains, but preserved human waste. The cave's exceptionally dry environment had protected this material for thousands of years, offering a rare glimpse into the distant past. While it may sound unremarkable, the discovery offered something archaeologists rarely obtain from sites this old: direct biological evidence. Scientists extracted mitochondrial DNA from the samples and made a remarkable discovery. The genetic material matched Native American founding lineages, known as haplogroups A2 and B2. This suggested that the individuals who left the remains were connected to the ancestors of indigenous peoples living in the Americas today. Then came the dating results. Using advanced radiocarbon testing, researchers determined that the material was more than 14,000 years old. The dates were checked repeatedly, yet the conclusion remained unchanged. Humans had been present in Oregon at least 1,000 years before the Clovis culture was supposed to have arrived. If the findings were correct, one of archaeology's most accepted theories suddenly faced a serious problem. Yet Oregon was not the only place raising questions. Thousands of miles away in western Pennsylvania, another site had already been challenging the traditional timeline. At Meadowcroft Rock Shelter, archaeologists uncovered stone tools, animal remains, and evidence of repeated human occupation buried deep beneath layers of sediment. The deeper they dug, the older the dates became. Some tests suggested humans may have occupied the shelter between 16,000 and 19,000 years ago. The claim sparked fierce debate. Critics questioned the dating methods, while supporters argued that the evidence could no longer be ignored. For years, Meadowcroft remained controversial. But after the discoveries at Paisley Caves, it no longer looked like an isolated anomaly. Instead, two sites on opposite sides of North America were pointing toward the same unsettling possibility. The first Americans may have arrived far earlier than anyone imagined. And as researchers continued investigating ancient sites across the West, they were about to uncover evidence that pushed the timeline back even further into the Ice Age. The Ice Age evidence that should not exist. As surprising as the discoveries at Paisley Caves and Meadowcroft Rock Shelter were, they represented only the beginning of a much larger mystery. In Oregon's remote high desert, archaeologists would soon uncover evidence that pushed the timeline even deeper into the past. Roughly 70 miles from Paisley Caves lies Rimrock Draw Rock Shelter, a site that initially appeared unremarkable. Beginning in 2011, researchers from the University of Oregon started excavating the shelter, uncovering stone flakes, animal remains, and traces of ancient activity. But the most important clues were hidden beneath the surface. Deep within the site, scientists identified a layer of volcanic ash linked to a major eruption of Mount St. Helens that occurred more than 15,000 years ago. This ash acted like a natural timestamp. Anything buried below it had to be older than the eruption itself. As excavations continued, researchers found teeth from extinct Ice Age animals, including ancient camels and a species of bison that no longer exists today. Radiocarbon testing on these remains produced astonishing dates between 21,000 and 22,000 years old. Then came an even more significant discovery. Beneath both the volcanic ash and the animal remains, archaeologists uncovered a carefully crafted stone tool made from orange chalcedony. The artifact showed clear signs of long-term use, with multiple edges designed for cutting, scraping, and other tasks. Because of its position in the ground, the tool had to be older than the layers above it. If the evidence was accurate, humans may have been active in Oregon during the height of the last ice age, thousands of years before traditional migration theories suggested. Yet an even more extraordinary discovery was waiting in the deserts of New Mexico. At White Sands National Park, researchers examining ancient lakebed sediments noticed something unusual preserved in the mud. What they uncovered stunned the archaeological world: fossilized human footprints. Not just a handful, but dozens of them. The tracks belonged to adults and children who once walked along the shoreline of an ancient lake. Some appeared to show people carrying objects, while others captured children moving beside adults. It was a remarkably detailed glimpse into everyday life from a vanished world. When scientists dated the surrounding sediments, the results pointed to an age between 21,000 and 23,000 years. Critics challenged the findings, prompting additional testing using different materials from the same layers. Each new analysis produced nearly identical results. The implication was difficult to ignore. Humans were present in North America during a period when massive ice sheets still covered much of the continent. The evidence seemed impossible, yet it continued to hold up under scrutiny. And if those dates were shocking, the next discovery would push the timeline into territory so extreme that many scientists still debate it today. The discovery that could rewrite human history forever. The discoveries at Paisley Caves, Meadowcroft Rock Shelter, Rimrock Draw, and White Sands had already forced archaeologists to reconsider long-held assumptions about the first Americans. Together, they suggested that humans may have reached North America far earlier than the traditional timeline allowed. But one controversial discovery in Southern California would take that possibility to an entirely different level. The story began during construction work near San Diego, where crews uncovered the remains of a mastodon, an Ice Age relative of modern elephants. What first appeared to be a routine fossil discovery became far more intriguing when researchers noticed unusual spiral fractures on several bones. Scientists recognized that fresh bone often develops twisting breaks when struck with significant force, making the fractures difficult to ignore. This raised a fascinating possibility. Some researchers proposed that the bones had been deliberately broken while they were still fresh, perhaps to access the nutrient-rich marrow inside. If true, it would suggest purposeful activity rather than a natural process. The mystery deepened when investigators discovered several large stone cobbles among the remains. Geological analysis indicated that the stones did not naturally belong in the surrounding sediments. Researchers suggested they may have been transported to the site and used as hammerstones and anvils. If that interpretation was correct, someone may have been processing the mastodon long before recorded history could explain. Then came the dating results. Using uranium-thorium dating, scientists determined that the mastodon remains were approximately 130,700 years old. The number was almost impossible to comprehend. At that point in prehistory, modern humans were not believed to have entered North America. In fact, according to conventional models, humans were only beginning to expand into other regions of the world. Yet the dates remained consistent, and the findings sparked immediate debate throughout the scientific community. Supporters argued that the evidence deserved serious attention. Critics questioned whether natural forces could have produced the fractures and stone arrangements without human involvement. The debate continues to this day, with no universally accepted answer. What makes the discovery so compelling is not just its age, but the questions it raises. Who, if anyone, broke those bones? How did they reach North America? And what other traces of their existence remain hidden beneath the landscape? Today, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. From Oregon caves to Pennsylvania rock shelters, from New Mexico footprints to California mastodon bones, each discovery points toward a history far older and more complex than once imagined. And somewhere beneath an unexplored cave floor, buried beneath desert sands, or hidden within ancient sediments. The next discovery may already be waiting to rewrite the story all over again. Thanks for watching. What do you think these discoveries really reveal about the first Americans? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch our next fascinating mystery.